Hello, everybody. I'm just coming to you today to share something with you. For the past couple of days, probably weeks, I've been having a lot of dreams. And I've been called to tell them and to share them because they're not just for me, they're for everybody. I was afraid for a really long time of how people would react to me and what I have to say because I represent God and Jesus in this time because people aren't listening. And so I'm just going to share my dreams with you, and if at the end of this video it made any sense or you felt anything, I urge you to pray and ask for Jesus to show you and to help you understand and to draw you closer. So we're going to start off with, it's kind of jumbled a little bit just because the time frame is, I don't know the exact time frame, like which one came first type thing, but I remember 3 different dreams. The first one that I had this week was I had been praying a lot lately, a lot more than I usually do or have in the past, and I finally just got the urge to read the Bible after so many years. I have never read the Bible completely all the way through. I've read a big part of Genesis and some verses here and there, and that was the extent of it. I trusted my pastors and I've trusted my preachers in the past to tell me what I needed to know, but that's not at all what I needed to know. So my first dream was that I was on this hill. It looked like a mountain, and there was a gravel road, but in a valley. And before you hit the valley, there was like a house or a tent or like a little trailer. And I was with another person at the time, I believe was my boyfriend, my fiance, who I'm going to marry soon. And I believe that he was with me. And the person who lived in the house was his friend. And his friend had looked at me in a way that made me feel different about a lot of things. Like, I just immediately trusted this person. I felt so much love and acceptance from this person. This person was not negative at all, which is really, really, really hard for me to find in people because I'm honestly scared of people. I love people, but I'm afraid of them. I'm afraid of what they could do to me. But in all honesty, I'm starting to realize people can't do anything to me. I do it to myself. And if I die, I die, but it doesn't mean that I'm actually dead. It means I'm dead here, which is nothing. Anyways, so in my dream, this guy had really, really bright, turquoise looking blue eyes, so bright. I've never seen eyes that color before. It was so, I can't even put into words how beautiful this person's eyes were. His hair was so blonde, but like a golden blonde, and so golden and shiny, and it fell perfectly. And everything about this person was welcoming and kind. And we were sitting around a fire talking, and we were talking about God and Jesus. And he said, "Do you trust me?" And I looked up at him like, kind of with a yearning feeling in my heart. And I said, "Yes." And he held out his hand, and I took his hand. And from that moment on, I could feel that the person that I was originally with was upset or jealous in a way. But I took his hand, and he said, "Follow me." I said, "Okay." And I followed him to the side of a trailer or a wall. And this wall had all these scribbles on it everywhere. Like, it just looked like someone had just took a stick or a rock and just went ham on the wall. And he's like, "Do you see that?" And I was like, "Yeah," curious about why I'm looking at this. And then he said, "Now take a step back and look at the wall and trust that Jesus is there. What does the wall say?" And I started speaking out loud because I stared at the wall, and immediately these words started lighting up like light bulbs were behind the wall or in the wall. The words were like these letters just started forming out of nowhere. It's like I could see something that didn't actually, it was not physically there. It was like it existed underneath the physical. It was like, you know how when you have fireworks and you have these sparklers, and when you write your name in the sparklers, it lasts for a little while? It was kind of like that, but it was more like, here's a word, here's a word, here's a word, or here's a sentence, and then it would go to another sentence, and it would all be in the same place. So it was like, the only way that I can explain it that makes sense, it was like Jesus was writing on the wall for me to read it. And it said, I can only pick out a few things because it happened so fast, and some of it I believe was just for me, and that's why I can't, express or get out what it said, because things that are not meant for other people I will not remember. I will only remember myself, like in my heart. It's imprinted on my heart, but I don't have a way to share that with anyone else. And it said, He is coming. Jesus is love. Be ready. It's near. And some other stuff. And that's all that I remember. But the main thing was Jesus is love and He is coming. And I took it very seriously. And when I started reading these things on the wall, I could see the person from the side of my peripheral vision, and they just was nodding and said, yes, 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 you've got it, you're good. And for some reason, I don't remember the rest of the dream, even though I do know that I kept dreaming after that. The second night, and these are not all in a row. Some of them, I think 2 of them were back to back, but not all of them. The next night, I had a dream that, because also, please take into mind that I have been praying a lot lately about this, like, please tell me what I need to do. My main thing is, I have asked God, please tell me what to do. I don't know what to do. I don't know how to hear or see you, because I have never tried before, and maybe one time when I did try, it didn't work, but maybe I wasn't being honest about my intentions. So I want to be honest now. Like, tell me what you want me to do. Tell me what I need to do to fix the things that I've done in my life, because I'm not a good person. I'm not good compared to Jesus, that's for sure. So I'm good compared to a serial killer, which does not say much. Anyways, so I had a dream that I was, again, with this is something that keeps occurring in my dreams, is that there's always 3 people and I am one of them. And in the dream, I was in a neighborhood of some sort at my parents' house, and it looked completely different. But there was this man that I had known, in my past, and he didn't have his face, but it was, now that I'm looking back on it, I believe that it was a representation of Jesus in my mind because of the way that I felt for that person. So Jesus feels that way about me. And Anyway, so in my dream, this person came up to me and he, in not so many words, basically, I'm condensing my dreams a lot, especially this one because I don't remember a whole lot of this one, just this one moment. But I was with my brother and this person that I knew, that I now know in my head, in my heart, was Jesus talking to me in my dream. And we were preparing to get married, and he asked me if I had prepared the Margaret yet. And I said, Margaret, what's that? And he said, don't you know? It's the maid of honor. And I said, oh, yeah. And then we went to a bed that was like made of clouds, and I just snuggled up to him like he was my lifeline. And I saw my brother and I said, come here, you lay with us too. And my brother was behind me and we all snuggled together. Nothing sexual happened, nothing immoral or bad, just we rested together. We felt safe together. That was the main thing I took from that. The next morning, I had looked up what the word Margaret means. I just typed in like as a common as a common noun, because in my dream that is the way that it was used, as a common noun, not as a proper noun like it's a person's name, but like as it's a thing. So I looked it up, what is a Margaret? And it popped up, Margaret stands for pearl, or in a lot of cultures, Margaret means pearl. And I was like, okay, well, I can kind of understand where that was going. Like, have you prepared the gift or the reward? But he specifically said in my dream, the maid of honor. So I got kind of confused and I prayed about it. And I was like immediately as I woke up, I prayed about it. And I was like, I don't really understand what this dream means. So if it does mean something, can you let me know? And then later that day, I had debated about fasting, and I've been thinking about it for a long time, but I never get to it because it's like, oh, I can start tomorrow. Oh, I can start tomorrow. It's okay, I can start tomorrow. But eventually, you run out of tomorrows. So I had prayed about fasting, and I was like, God, I need help with this. I'm not strong enough to do this by myself. I clearly keep pushing it off. It's not that easy for me. So I would like you to help guide me through this. And I would like you to tell me how long I should fast, what type of fasting I should do, because I know that it's unique for every person. And some people choose to abstain from food for so many hours of the day, but they eat 1 hour a day or something like that. And I was just trying to ask for guidance, like how many days should I do this? What do I do when I start to feel weak? Things like that, because I do have a job and I do have things that I have to do in order to survive. So I was asking simply, like, what can I do that will please you, is what I ended the prayer saying. Like, what do you want me to do that will please you? I don't want to do things for myself. I don't want to do something just because it pleases me, just because I can do it. Like, I don't just want to do it for one day and be done because I know that I can. I want to do something that proves to you that I want what you want, and I want to do something that proves to you that I'm willing to obey you. Then I had another dream that following night. And this time I dreamed that I was again with a man. And it's always the same present feeling. Like, it always feels like the same presence, but the face changes, the voice changes, but their eyes are always bright. They always look beautiful, and they're always loving and accepting every single time. And I was I had dreamed, I don't remember the whole dream because my dreams are extremely vivid and they have a lot of parts to them. And again, some things that God gives me in vision are just for me and for nobody else. And that's why I can't relate them or relay them to anyone else, because they're not for you. But this is where it kind of comes together. Okay, this is why I'm giving you the information that I'm giving you. Anyway, I had the dream that there was this man and we were together in the sense that not that we were romantic partners, but that we were friends, that we knew each other. And we were eating together, just eating food. And when we finished eating, we put our stuff down. You know, we got our utensils and plates and stuff and we put them down. And then we started walking into a tunnel or something underground. And he said, Matthew. And I looked at this man and I said, Matthew? And he said, the book of Matthew. And I said, oh, okay. I don't remember much after that, but when I woke up, I looked up the book of Matthew. And I have been seeing the number 1022 for the past 5 years. And every time I see the number, it sends kind of like a, why does that mean something to me? You know, why do I keep seeing this number and it feels like it means something? I looked up, for some reason, I just had the urge to look up Matthew 10:22 because I had also been praying about, you know, spreading God's word. And I'm not going to lie, like I've said in the beginning, I have been afraid of that. And I've been looking for guidance about that. But Matthew 10:22 says, and ye shall be hated of all men for my name's sake, but he that endureth to the end shall be saved. If that's not... Look, there's no way that you could take my experience and believe it 100% and be like, yeah, I believe in God just because of what you said. But the fact that I believe it so freaking strongly and that I know it's true and I know that it came from Jesus and I know that it came from God, trust it. Trust that. Not only that, but when I woke up from my dream that said Matthew, I looked up on my phone summary of the book of Matthew, and in it said something about it's the story about Jesus and how he was born, how he lived and brought disciples to him, how he died. And it says a few things in there. When I looked it up, it said and I don't know the context, I just saw this on my internet, you know, feed on the screen, and it said like gold or something with gold, something with something else, and then pearl. And the second I saw that, it was like a shock went through my body, and I was like, it's all coming together because this chapter is about how to save other people. And I've been sitting here trying to figure out what I need to do. Not only that, but it's about the 40-day fast that Jesus had. And he was tempted by the devil. And so it came full circle for me. I had been praying all week about, what should I do? What do you want me to do? How should I obey you? Tell me what to do. And here it is laying out straight for me in prophetic dreams in the book itself. He told me where to look in the book. He told me exactly where. He said sorry, I didn't mean to cuss. He said Matthew. He told me where to look for my answers, and I found them. And keep in mind that I have never, still haven't done it because I just started this, never read the Bible front to back. I don't know all the books of the Bible. I don't know what all of the books of the Bible mean. I don't know what they're for. I don't know what I can't summarize any of the books except for Genesis by saying that's when it was the beginning. That's all that I know. I don't know the Bible very well. I know certain verses. I don't know whole chapters. I don't know whole books. I don't know what the books are about. So the fact that I had a dream and a man told me to look at Matthew and I found the exact things that I had been questioning, tell me, you can't tell me that there's no God. You can't. I did this to myself for so long. For so many years, I was gone. I didn't believe in anything, or at least I tried not to, but there's always this piece of your heart that's like, But if God is real, then da 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 da, because you can't help searching for the answers. And I tried so freaking hard to explain life in the universe, in the stars, in the sky, and just the fact that we exist without God. And I kept going into loops after loops after loops, and nothing made sense. Not one thing that I looked up made sense. And I'm not dumb. I'm an educated person. I went to college for 3 years. I had biology classes, I had, genetic classes. I had classes that were very science-based because I wanted to be a physical therapist. These things cannot be fundamentally explained by science. It can't. There are answers that we are still searching for by science. Without God, there is no... Why are we here then? If God doesn't exist, then what are we doing here? Why do we exist? It doesn't make sense. And someone will say, oh, well, it's just a bunch of life came out of nowhere and we're just here because of evolution. Where did the life start, though? Where did it start? Where did it start? And you can say, well, it just came up out of nowhere and bam, there was life. It had to come from somewhere because energy cannot be created or destroyed. It just changes. Okay? I'm sorry, I'm getting excited. Avoid casual and irresponsible commitments to God. I don't know why I just saw this on my Bible. Anyways, for the longest time I was denying it, and I refused to pray because it felt wrong and disingenuous, and like I knew I wouldn't get anything out of it because I knew that I didn't really believe with my whole heart that Jesus was my Savior. I didn't for a long time. I'm talking the better half of a decade. More than that, like 7 to 9 years in between there, from the time I was 17 till now, and I'm gonna be 26 in May. It's been about 9 years that I refused to have anything to do with God. I stopped going to church when I was 16, and I used the excuse that I had work. But that wasn't it. I was just tired of going. I didn't feel it anymore. I didn't have a thirst for it anymore, and I think that God worked on me in the way that He did so that I could be here today to let you know, like, coming to you as someone who grew up in the church but didn't fully 100% believe and went away and turned away from the church. And I'm going to tell you right now, I'm not religious. I'm not religious. I don't have a religion. I have a relationship with God, and I have a relationship with Jesus, and that is it. I don't have anything else. I don't own anything else. I am nothing else other than my relationship with God and Jesus, because without them, I am nothing. Like, yeah, I'm still going to exist, but where? Nowhere fun. Nowhere that I want to be. I fell away. I did drugs, like a lot of them. I saw things, which I come now to know they were demons. They literally pinched me in my sleep. Right before I was about to fall asleep, they would pinch me to keep me awake. I remember one time I was laying in bed and I had just laid down, and seconds after I laid down, I heard a creak on the floor, and I got scared, and I got this overwhelming sense of dread and disgust and hatred and just I can't even describe to you how awful that feeling was. And then I heard a growl in my ear like it was inside of my head. And I remember asking in my head to my boyfriend who was lying next to me at the time, "Did you hear that?" And he responded to me in his head, "Yes." So much stuff happened. And I still didn't run to Jesus. Still, after all of that, I still didn't, because I was more afraid of Jesus and what God would say about all of the stuff that I did, all of the things that I knowingly and unknowingly allowed myself to go through because of the fact that I was in very subtle and non-subtle ways looking up to a false god, you know? I was looking at science as my god. I was looking at myself as my god. There was so many times where I was like, you know what? I'm God. And I hate to say that now, but I have to let you know this is how bad it was. This is how low I got. I hit bottom. And I hit bottom over and over and over again. And there were times where I just didn't want to be alive, but I was too scared to do anything about it. But I sabotaged myself, and in that was suicide. I sabotaged myself left and right. Even though I would be upset about it, about the consequences of my self-sabotage, I knew deep down that it was my fault. I knew deep down that I was the one who was creating that problem. Like the fact that I remember I bought $13 or $40 worth of $40 worth of ecstasy pills. And I stayed up all night and took about 5-6 of them, and I just sat there staring at the TV that was not even on, talking to myself and to the beings around me. And believe me, they exist, because that was 2-3 years ago, and I have seen things since. I'm not high, but I've seen things since. And you can say, oh, maybe it's ruined your brain, but I've seen things before I ever got high too, when I was younger. Anyways, so I did all those things. I was in a very dark place. I cried all the time, continuously, all the time. There was never a day that I was happy. Sometimes I would just be numb to the point that I would stare out the window and I wouldn't realize that 3 hours had passed. I wasn't myself. I didn't find life joyful at all. Even the little things I knew were going to be gone in a second, so why would I enjoy them? I didn't care about anything. I stopped going to work. I quit my job. A lot of stuff. And I remember one time this is after about a month and a half, maybe 6 months, between a month and 6 months that I had taken those drugs. I was outside one day. It was completely random. I just started feeling anxious. And I was outside. I let my dog outside to go to the bathroom. And we lived in an apartment, and I lived on the upstairs apartment. And on the way to the upstairs apartment, there was a set of stairs and then your door. And you just go inside your door. I'm pretty sure you know how apartments work, but just in case you don't. I went downstairs at the back porch. I let my dog out, and at the corner of it was a pretty big backyard because there was parking back there. There wasn't a whole lot of grass. But at the corner of the driveway or the parking lot, there was a light, and underneath the light was this very tall, extremely pitch black, opaque, dark figure. Super tall, super skinny. And I just saw it, and I got this feeling of panic and distress and that feeling of disgust and paranoia. And my dog started barking like it was gonna hurt something, like it was barking at something like it was scared. I called my dog back in. I was like, no, let's go back inside. And I felt, as soon as I turned my back, I felt the thing behind me. It felt like it was grabbing at the back of the hairs on my neck, saying like, I'm right here. There's nothing you can do about it. I felt it on the back of my heels. The second I stepped inside and I went into my little game room, which is where we have like our PlayStations and stuff and our TVs and whatnot. I went in there and I sat on the chair, and the chair was in the middle of the room. And when I sat in the chair, I still felt scared. I closed all the windows, I closed all the blinds. That didn't help at all. It made me more afraid. And I sat down and I tried to relax, and I could just feel, it's like I had eyes on the back of my head and I could see what was behind me, even though I couldn't. But I could just feel and see what was behind me. And it was this dark shadow person just standing there, letting me know that it's waiting on me. I remember there were times where I was laying in bed and I could feel something crawling up my legs and laying on top of me and having sex with me. I felt it. Sometimes I brushed it off as if it was a dream. Sometimes I actually enjoyed it because my body did what my body wanted to do and not what my heart wanted to do. Sometimes it was extremely scary. It happened often. I remember one time I was laying in bed at our first apartment, and it was a townhouse type apartment. And I was laying there, and it was in the middle of the day. I was just laying there, and I was watching TV. I think I was watching Family Guy, and the volume was turned all the way down, and I was just sitting there staring at it, being still. And I could hear what they were saying on the TV. So I went all the way up to the TV and I listened to it, and I couldn't hear anything. But when I backed away from it and I watched their lips, I could still hear what they were saying, like it was coming from their own voices. And I laid back in bed and I was like, you know what, screw it. I'm just going to lay here and whatever, who cares? The TV's only on for light anyway. So I laid there, and again, I was still, and I heard two voices in my head, a female and a male. And the male said, can she hear me? The female said yes. The male said, can she see me? The female said yes. And when I heard that, I was like, what? This has got to be my neighbors, right? So I listened real close at the wall for my neighbors, and I heard laughing.